made it. My dog. Hey Ruckus, say hi. And me, we made it up to Gross Dam. Our first adventure. Shall we get out? This was just a quick shakedown of the van, and I forgot my wind mic, so hopefully it's not too windy on the on the camera. But I'm here at Gross Dam. We got a bunch of snow yesterday, but this thing handled it very well. I put it down to 4-wheel drive, and it did no problems. It had no problems on this. So I'm just brewing water for the first time in the van, but the purpose of this video is actually to show the walkthrough of the van. There's a lot for me to learn yet with this van, and it all started with the walkthrough at the dealership when I picked it up. So coming up is the walkthrough. It's about 2 hours long. I've trimmed it down, but it's still long. I'm not sure the exact times I put down below after I edit it. Take a look. If you're thinking about buying a Revel, this is a good thing to know. They go through a lot of the features of the Revel, things to look for. This is the 2020 Revel on the 2019 Mercedes Sprinter chassis. Most of the videos out there at the moment are the older Revels. This is the new one. So come along and learn with me, because I need to watch this again to learn all the features of this van.
Okay, well, the way we usually start these walks is we'll go through the exterior first, and then we'll make our way. I'll open both of the driver's side and passenger side doors and explain a couple of the small things that are visible there, as well as the rear door. Some things that are easier to see from the rear hatch open, otherwise you're kind of ducking underneath the bed and squeezing in tight when you're inside as well. All right, so we'll start over here. Like I was mentioning before, you do have these aftermarket black painted matte wheels over here, and that aftermarket lug wrench will fit those because it's actually a keyed lug, so they provide you with an aftermarket lug wrench so it fits those wheels. Over here you do see your folding side mirrors. You have a driver's side and passenger side.
Now they're not power, are they? They're just
these are power.
Oh, they are power.
These are powered. So now it's what I was going to mention is don't try to do it automatically. You'll break the actuators inside it.
Don't try to do it manually.
Yeah, excuse me. Don't try to do it
okay.
manually. You do have both of your turn signal indicator lights, driver's side and passenger side. Yep. As well as putting it in reverse, you have your backup camera and your hitch view as well. Down here right now I do have our LED light switch on. I'll show you where that's indicated, but you can kind of see how bright it's going to be, especially in a full lit shop. It's all completely underneath the running board, as well as you have an LED on the front and rear of it, as well as a stainless steel tie down for an expensive bike or pets or anything.
Oh, I see.
Yep. And you also have the courtesy lights too. When your normal dashboard headlights are turned on, those courtesy lights are on as well.
Put it back here.
There we go. I do want to mention, a lot of people tend to forget that these steps do not go in when the doors are closed. They do stay out, so when driving up to a gas station or anything, they have those posts, those yellow or red posts up to the gas station. Remember that those may catch on, so give yourself
I can see that, because you might think that, oh, they'll clear it underneath the light,
clear
but
underneath that, but
there.
they won't make it underneath that. I have replaced a bunch of them that are bent. They are very sturdy brackets, but I mean, there's other things connected to the brackets. One of the main house batteries sits right there.
Yeah, that would not be good
to part of the step. So I like to mention that. Over on the side, you see your biggest side acrylic windshield. They are all acrylic except for the chassis side, the front cap. Don't think because they're acrylic that they're going to be any more less efficient for keeping it cooler.
In fact, they're double paned, aren't they?
They are double paned. Going over, you do see your main diesel engine exhaust. We'll go over the engine bay when we make our way around the full. It is mounted. Be cautious because it does sit lower than anything else. It sits right about the same height as your house batteries sit underneath that.
I know, it's
chassis.
Kind of funny because I know they cut this shorter for this model year, so to raise it up even higher. Because everybody kept on banging them. But it's still pretty low.
The one thing I don't necessarily like about it, their design, is the fact that it's not polished or anything, and the fact that it sits on the outside of your patio side. They're assuming that because you're parked and you're at a campground, you're obviously not going to have the engine running, but certain situations, people may be outside and you may need to start your engine. So just keep that in mind, that you do,
if you run out of solar.
You do have or you need your fridge going and people are outside and you run your engine, because it does have that separate alternator to run your fridge.
Yep.
Outside you do have your 110 outlet.
Yep.
Dual outlet. There is no GFCI breaker on this one, which I find kind of funny that they don't put one on. They don't have a reset. It is GFCI protected, but there's not a reset on this.
Is a fuse?
What's that?
Is it a fuse inside, or
no?
It is actual breaker.
Yeah, it is a breaker, and I'll show you where the GFCI breaker is located. The reset and the test. There's only one in the entire house.
Okay, and that's solar.
That's your solar. Right now you are set up for 200 watts, which isn't a whole lot. It's roughly 2 amps per hour is what is charging your batteries, which that's not a lot, but it can take up to 510 if you want to expand it. And your solar, your controller board inside is already pre-wired to take the other 300. You'll charge being plugged in, you'll charge using your inverter, you're charging driving down the road. So no matter what you're charging, I'll get back into where we're at over here. Down low, all the way down there, you do see a quick release door. It's just on a simple release pin. And that's where you'll put your sewer hose.
Okay.
I like to call
for the grey water.
Yeah, grayer and black.
We don't have black.
Well, you have a cassette toilet,
Yeah.
excuse me. I just walked an Avion and it has both tanks.
Now, I don't have to connect the hose to just dump the grey water if I'm like on the street over a drain and it's a good place to dump the grey.
You shouldn't worry about it. As long as it's non-toxic material, as well as de-winterizing. If you ever have it winterized and you just take it out and run water through your systems, all RV antifreeze is non-toxic. You can drink it, so it doesn't matter if I wouldn't run it down the street, but you can. It's not going to hurt anything. I found that curious, because when people was looking at winterizing vans so things don't freeze, it's like, oh, stick antifreeze in with your water. I'm like, really? Isn't that poisonous? Now that's something I want you to know, is that we get people in here all the time that think these things can't freeze. They're very set up to be freeze proof, but they are not 100% freeze proof. We get people. I've been reading forums and stuff, and I also follow some people who drive one of these for Alaska with -40 temperatures. It's like, yeah, they can freeze. You do have a cap over here. Yep. Just make sure that's tight. It can bounce free. Sometimes we get them all the time where they're not even there anymore. But it's just there to keep water and debris out of the hitch. Okay. Right here you do see your ladder lock. Yep. For your rear ladder. People have been known to take these. They fit on multiple different chassis of this Mercedes-Benz chassis. So it has a little grommet in here that covers the keyhole. And when it's locked, it just allows that to spin over the bolt threads. That's right there. When you lock it, it catches the threads and it screws off like a normal nut. So, like I said, I'll open up the back, but first I wanted to mention that rear view camera that's up there. When you put your transmission in reverse, that will obviously show up. There is a hitch view. There's also a 360 view too for like parking assist cameras and everything. All these little dots are different sensors for your backup camera and your I wouldn't get a vehicle without sensors these days. Absolutely, I agree. I've come to rely upon it as I get older. The more you have this here, I've had customers that want this mounted on the other side, on the driver's side. So if you want to think about moving it later on, you can. You just can't lock it at the side. It's just actually you can. There's a few spots I've seen, and it may say in the forms, but there's certain areas inside that you can actually drill into the frame. The actual. Oh, okay. They have dealerships do it. I don't think we only have one tech that has done it, and you can remount this ladder mount on 3 different sides of the driver's side, just so it's out of the way over here. Okay. And then you could pull it off on that side and use it the same way as you would on the rear. Okay. So, but as I was saying before, I wanted to open this up and just mention a couple things that are easier to see on the back side than stepping in. So over here, hidden behind this, you do have this first switch, which isn't labeled, is your patio light on this driver's side. Right. You do have your water pump switch over here, as well as one inside the shower and on the main control panel. And that's just to allow you to switch this on so you can use the outside shower in case you haven't got it switched on, right? Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And you can leave it on. It's on-demand water pump, so as long as it's pressurizing the system up, it'll call for a draw. So, and it's 12 volt, so you don't need to be plugged in. It runs off of battery power. This faucet back here, the shower, I want to recommend going over when you winterize your coach. Don't forget about it. A lot of people forget about it. That's the first thing that breaks after someone such as yourself buys one of these, and that's the first thing they come in to repair, because they forgot about winterizing it. It still has water that runs all the way from the main mixing valve over to here, and it can create more problems than that if that freezes as well. So it drains out the shower head, so that it's a quick release, so it runs off the same shower head that's in your shower. I'll show you.
So you have to plug the shower head in and then just let it drain down until there's no pressure.
So you drain when you're siphoning antifreeze out of your antifreeze bottle when it's winterizing, you'll run it both through hot and cold until it's the color of your antifreeze.
So one of my tricks would be, taking this for winter ski trips.
Okay.
So I want to throw some water in it, but then during the week it's going to be sitting. It's like, do I leave it plugged in to keep the heaters running, or is it just easier just to drain it down quick? Because I don't have convenient power for where I'm going to park it either.
Depends on the temperature,
and it might end up on the street.
you can have your inverter going. It is plenty powerful enough to run your S-bar system, which is your heating system in your coach, that actually has glycol lines, heated lines that run underneath.
That doesn't need inverter though, isn't it? That's 12 volt, the S-bar.
I believe you are right. It can run off of both. If you're using the actual water heater element.
Okay, yeah. If I'm plugged into shore power, then yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
As well as your fridge being 12 volt too, or it can run while going down the road as well. A couple other small things back here that not a lot of people realize is these push pins.
Yep. I was playing with these the other day.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's got the ledges. That's right. Yep. So you got plenty of room back here for totes. You can remove those to make more room if you need. You have your main heat exchanger sitting underneath your bed over here. That is the one that is going to get hottest the quickest.
I've seen in the mods that people put a deflector to deflect it that way, so you can shove things up to it and not block it.
Yep. There you go. Over here you do have your USB plug. It can be swapped out at a later time if you use more of the 12 volt plug, but you have double USB.
Okay, no, that's fine. And then this one is...
That's a light underneath the bed, I believe.
Oh right, yeah. Yep. Okay. 2 puck lights.
You do have your puck light switches that are on top of the bed.
Yep.
Over on that wall, and then you have your push buttons on these side. They're
along with additional USB and 12 volt up there.
Over there. Yep. Scattered all over the place. There's plenty of USB, but I have heard people that like to use their hair dryer and stuff, so they'll pop that out for a 12 volt instead of running everything off of USB. It's you don't even really need to do anything. You can get a 12 volt plug from Winnebago.
Yeah.
And they're all standard on these Revels, Navions, the bolts. They're all the same plug. So that just comes off 2 screws.
Okay.
And then the actual housing is just this circular part, and that's how they interchange them for a 12 volt. And it's just I believe those ones are a quick release wire on this new version. So it's a quick release from the USB to a 12 volt if you want. Other than that, that's pretty much it. You do have your screen over here. I'm sure you know how that works. You either have
it's combined bug screen and kind of blackout curtain.
Yeah, full nighttime screen, or you have a halfway point as well to allow full air ventilation. That it's not a screen.
Okay.
You can have it completely open like this. So it's a good 3-way option screen. All night, all shade, halfway open, or all open. So and it rolls up there. It rolls up nicely. I have had customers here that throw away the foam insert that's in there. They say it's a pain in the butt, it gets stuck in the door. It may happen, you may read it on your forms, but just keep that foam insert that's all the way at the bottom. It sits in a pouch. It's rolled up right now. That's what helps it roll up into a nice cylindrical shape. But it can get sit kind of cattywampus over here. and it'll close on the door, but it's foam. It's not going to break anything. Don't get rid of it. It actually helps tremendously when rolling it up if you need to.
Now, hang on, this opens wider than this, doesn't it?
No.
Oh, it doesn't?
That is it. On this new model, they put these new hinges on so that you weren't hitting this bump out anymore.
Oh, okay, because I saw things where they were like, oh, you then release that, and it's
this, and it was on the 2018 and 2019.
Not that I ever really considered that a feature. Like, I don't see why I would.
160-degree doors.
Yeah, I don't see why. So, okay, no 160-degree doors.
No 160-degree doors on this one. Your spare tire sits underneath there. There's a cage for it.
Yep.
It does sit just as low as.
It's. Yeah.
Yep. It sits just as low as your hitch over there.
That'll be fine. Yeah.
Your drivetrain, your axle back there sits lower. Your transfer case, so you shouldn't have to worry about it. Over here, I'm not using your shore power cord because I didn't want to have to grab it out of the box. A lot of times it's wrapped up, so we'll just keep it clean and everything.
Now that includes the adapter to go down to 120, right?
No, it does not.
So I got to buy that.
It is. Yeah, it is not available on this one.
So when I drive home, I can't plug it in at home until I get that.
Nope. It's something we carry here. They're pretty cheap, pretty common as well.
Okay.
As well as being at campgrounds or different places you may see only have a 50 amp service.
Yep.
So you'll need a 30 amp to 50 amp adapter too. Both of which are very good to have. The 110 to 30 and the 30 to 50.
Okay.
On the shore cord that you will have a blue indicator light that tells you are getting power inside your house. On your actual cord that you have on the inside will give you a blue light from your power source, saying that there's no trip, there's no faulty wiring.
So is that both ends?
Yes.
Okay.
So it'll tell you it's coming from the park or wherever you're plugged in from your house, blue indicator light on that end and on this end to tell you, yes, your coach is getting power to help you, say, troubleshoot for the customer. If you ever need to troubleshoot a fuse or a breaker box, yes, you have power there, you have power here. The problem is inside my coach, the problem isn't in my house.
Okay.
Over here you do see your bump out, that light that I was telling you, your other dual pane is really good to go.
There's another battery there.
Yep.
I thought which one's that then? I thought all three were together down there. Nope. Okay.
And they haven't been, I think, since 2017.
Okay.
2018, 19, and 20, this version, they've split them up. So you have one over this wheel, one over the passenger side wheel, and then that
it's
one
only the one there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'll show you where the chassis one's located here. It's up underneath the steering wheel.
Okay.
Here you have your cassette toilet.
Yep.
Wow. Honestly, you struck gold with that cassette door. A lot of them are a pain in the butt. They keep these things like really tough to open and close, but that is probably the easiest one I've ever opened. And I've opened dozens of these. But you have a blue lever right here. Pull that out. Yep. Since they washed it, they got water all over the place. But you do have your carrying.
Yep, handle.
Pops up. It'll lock in place so you can wheel it. And then you will need to. You can turn that out, and you have a grab, and you can drain like that. Yep. You have an air vent, and you have a bigger air vent.
So you just open up the air vent before you drain it, and then it can flow.
Yep. It's still, I still like to recommend that it is still waste. Wear black gloves. Yeah. It's a black glove area.
I see most people tend to keep a box of latex gloves or whatever there, Yep.
So. Or a box of paper towels in on top as well. So, but it should find its way to slide in by itself. There's no trying to. Over here you have your city fill. Yeah. City fill for pressurized water. There's a gravity flow one on the inside door. I skipped, but this one's for main, like a garden hose that has 10 to 40 psi. Yeah. Over here, you do see your S-bar exhaust. Yep. That's your water heater exhaust. Your furnace exhaust it's all on this side. Yep. And then there's your other battery, like I was saying. So I was wrong. That's the only one that's by itself over there. And then your three deep cycle, 315 watt hour AGM batteries. They're completely service. Yeah. Unserviceable. You don't need to do anything with them. Okay. If they die, they can be replaced. And we didn't get to the whole grey water. Yeah. So this is. pretty common, and
So,
this may have a little bit of antifreeze in it, so we're good. And that just
But it won't release until you pull the handle.
true.
Yep.
But it still may have a little bit that seeps through it. They are
And-
only a gate,
Yeah.
so
And this is the thing that I've learned is most likely to freeze up, is actually because this is not heated, this
yes,
part.
and it'll actually be your valve first.
Yeah, the valve, yeah.
Since it's made with ABS style PVC, it has a pretty good expansion rate,
Yeah.
so it can expand and contract. The valves, however, is the thing that you want to be worried about most when freeze damage. It's not the piping.
Okay.
Most of the systems, I'd say almost everything inside the coach is made with PEX, which is polystyrene or polyethylene plastic. So
Yep.
it expands and contracts pretty nicely, as well as the PVC. The valves are brass and plastic,
Okay.
and they will shatter and explode. That's bad. So everything else, that's why people say, oh, well, I didn't have any water in my systems, but water can still be contained inside the hubs of the fittings. And that's where the problems occur.
Okay.
So yeah, don't take it lightly to winterize your coach when you're not using it, if it's not being put away.
Yep.
I will open this door and go over a couple things in
So,
here.
can you remove all the annoying stickers before I take it?
I wish I could. There is
You're
a,
not allowed to.
it would take a while.
Oh, okay.
They actually, if you were to pre-order this from Winnebago, there is a complete decal cancelization kit.
But I thought that was just for the decals on the side, not this stuff.
That was, but now they make it to where it doesn't even say the name.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't have the badges. It doesn't have the W on the front cap. They completely did away with everything on the new one.
Okay.
But I want to say, there's your diesel fill.
Yep.
A lot of people think that's really neat that it's inside the door. There's still a weather stripping here to allow for the gases to stay out and things to stay in. However, if you do dribble a little bit, if a little bit of gas gets on, carry rags with you. You can put them right there, or tissue box right there, or grab like the blue ones that they have at a gas station.
Okay, so you can't open this without the door open?
Without
okay.
the door, yeah, exactly. So if you get dribble and then you're done filling and you get on the road and driving, I've had a lot of people say that they get headaches because of the fumes in there.
Yeah.
Just grab a couple blue paper towels and clean off the dribble, because if you leave it, it will still seep in.
Okay.
And you'll smell it. So take mine, just try to do it as clean as possible.
So the best thing is to... It doesn't clip shut, it just...
Yeah.
Just,
yeah. Over here, you do have your fuse box for most, and I want to emphasize that it's most of your Mercedes-Benz side.
Okay.
It is not all of your Mercedes-Benz side. There are some things that we still come across and that we're still learning about these that are tied in with the house fuses. That everything should be, and this one's not labeled, it should be labeled. I believe the stickers would still be in your manual, since they didn't get put on. If you carry a multi-pack of fuses, there are no special fuses for Mercedes-Benz. They're not special for Winnebago. They're just like a size 3 to say 20 amp fuse, random box. Should set you for life for anything that you may need.
Okay.
Replace a fuse. If there's anything wrong on chassis side,
Yeah.
if there is a light that's not working, but it's not the bulb, if anything on the dashboard isn't working and you've troubleshooted it, maybe a fuse, you'll find it here. If the seats don't work, maybe a fuse that blown here.
Okay.
One more thing on the inside before we head in or go over the engine bay, I guess. When you are storing your vehicle, say, once again, for example, you're not going to be using this for about 4 to 6 months.
Yep.
You want to disconnect both sets of batteries, house and chassis. On this new model, they hid the chassis disconnect. So this panel, if you pull from the top and put your thumb right there, that panel comes off.
And then there's a switch or fuse.
I just want to demonstrate it. It's actually like a pull off. Where'd you release it? Maybe it's made to not come off.
You just break my van?
No. If you, I want you to see it.
Okay.
So if you pull that top right-hand corner of that, you will see that if you can pull on it pretty tightly. You see that prong in there that looks like a battery like a battery post that's right there.
That thing? Yeah.
Yep, that's literally right inside there. You see that red knob on top of that black, what looks like kind of like a torch?
Yeah.
That's plugged into it.
Okay, yeah.
If you push down on that red knob and pull that off, it completely disconnects the chassis batteries.
Huh. Okay.
There's no other chassis disconnect. And it's still an AGM battery.
Yeah.
So what's sad is they don't give you a disconnect switch or a turn off. They give you that and they hit it on this version.
Okay.
I don't know why they did it. Maybe, I do know Mercedes-Benz uses their own special batteries. They have their own AGMs for these. There's their deep cycle AGM for the chassis as well. So maybe they're trying to make a few bucks by trying to hide that. But
Okay.
if you're storing it, disconnect that, and I'll show you where the main house disconnect is too. That'll just eliminate parasitic draw
Yep.
from anything. Say someone's in here trying to push the windows down or anything, that's still activating a relay and
Yep.
it's still pulling power. So,
Yep.
the other thing that you can see over here a lot better, and I'll just show it to you, is that hinge. That's the seat release.
Yep.
That allows it to swivel.
This wire in here is kind of a janky where it's sticking out.
And they give you that slack just so you can go forward and back. Right now it's
so
all
that's
the way in
for
the
the-
back position. So when you go in the forward position, it pulls that slack with
Okay.
it. So, as well as spinning. So if there's ever any wires kind of tucked out, just tuck them back in. They give you slack in there so that whole radius can spin around in a 360. So,
Okay, makes sense. Yep.
and you may notice it on the passenger side as well, but I'll demonstrate that on the inside. They are kind of tricky. They don't make it the easiest system to do that if you ever want to face the rear.
Yeah, we discovered when we were demoing.
When you and Grant still hasn't
And
even got it down yet.
You kind of need to slide it forward first and then rotate
Slide it
and then
forward,
yeah.
lift the backrest up,
Yeah.
and then you should be able to rotate it. What you're going to hit more or of anything is this A-frame or that A-frame
Right.
of the door. So just keep that in mind. Don't try to force it.
Yep.
It does clear it easily in its correct orientation. The hood release over here is kind of tucked away as well. It's not labeled, but it's sitting right there. You'll see the hinge for it.
Oh yeah,
And it's a pull towards you.
like
Yep.
that. Got it.
On this model, they gave you the traditional style hood keep.
Okay.
On the older versions, there was a little slide mount. First thing I want to go over, and it looks like you could use a little more windshield washer fluid before you leave as well. I'll just top that off for you. You have a jump start kit already in here since your, oh, I forgot something on the driver's side I'll go over.
Okay.
Since the battery isn't located underneath the hood, it's
Yep.
located up underneath the steering wheel over there. You have your positive post for a jump, and that
Okay.
just slides over and pops in. And you have your ground post over here.
Oh, okay.
So if you need to jump start it, that's where you would do it. If you ever need to replace that battery, we're gonna come over here real quick. You will remove this panel and this panel. So when that's off, you can slide this rubber mat up and out of the way.
Yep.
And it actually sits from this edge to over here, up here, and it's a steel panel that comes up. So it's actually kind of a pain in the butt to remove that battery.
Yeah.
But if you've ever replaced your own car battery before, which you may have, some people haven't,
Yeah.
it's not that big of a deal. It's a T25 and a T30.
Okay. I have
Torx.
those. Yeah.
That is a vented AGM battery, which means it needs air to breathe. Otherwise, it gets too hot and it'll completely destroy itself. These ones are vented because they're on the exterior.
Okay.
This one's in a cavity, so it actually has a little wire loom that comes up and out of the side of the battery and back down into a port so it can breathe and actually vent itself to
Okay.
the exterior of the coach. When you take it apart, you'll see it's because it's actually integrated into the battery mount itself. It's there.
Okay.
And I could show you if you want, but
No.
all these things.
I would hope I don't need to touch that battery for several years.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
I do want to note that. Oh, that didn't close.
Like I said. There we go.
Yeah, just being cautious on.
Yeah.
It's fine. I want to note that any of these small things that I'm noting, they're all found in your manual. It's
Okay.
not just things that I've learned. Some of them are, but all these little things that they don't say, here is what that does.
Yep.
There is a sticker on that battery disconnect there that you saw, but it's not highlighted, it's not red. It doesn't say, hey, unplug me when storing your coach. So I want to say that, but it is in your manual.
Yep.
A lot of good information is in your manual. So if there's things that I'm saying that you don't understand, look in your manual. Winnebago sets them up very well on these coaches. They're not written like a traditional vehicle manual.
Yeah.
They are all subletted out, every different system. So there's electrical, there's plumbing, there's appliances.
Right.
So it's all easy to follow. And I like to mention that because I get a lot of customer feedback when I say look in the manual. They're like, oh, they're not going to read the manual. Read the manual. You got your charge port over here. As you'll notice, there's no dipstick for your def. There's no view for your def level. There also is no view or dipstick for your oil. It's all on dashboard level now, as well as your TPMS, your tire pressure monitoring system for your wheels. They have chips in them, but there is no way to view them beside your dashboard. And that will take 15 minutes of driving at 15 mile per hour or more for those to activate.
Okay.
So we set them here on a manual tire pressure gauge, but there's no way for us to like literally check them on the dashboard to make sure they come up. If they don't come up on the dashboard, it may be a fault code or a bad relay. They have been known, Mercedes-Benz has been known to reset them or send you to a Mercedes-Benz dealership to have them completely switched out. So just keep that in mind. I'll show you how to activate that on the dashboard to check that system. So when you're driving, say after the first 30 minutes, you say, hey, that's enough time. Let's go ahead and check it. And you can check it, and if they pop up, good. It does take a couple minutes for them, so just leave it on that screen.
Yeah.
So.
Speaking of tire pressures, I've read something where, you know, discussions on what the tire pressure should be and stuff like this. And I've heard some comments like 50/70. Is that like 50 front, 70 back or something?
Yes.
I don't know, because 70 sounds really high to me compared to a car and whatnot. But
you have that whole. So your front holds the engine and everything, which is also very heavy. The back also holds your gross vehicle rating, which is your tongue weight and everything too. So they like to have more air in the rear, and that'll be located on this door sticker just like any other vehicle. Yep. So it's about 70 psi for rear. Yeah. And then front is 49.
49, 50.
Why did they pick 49? I don't know. That's pretty much it.
So absolutely, the one thing I don't want to do is let it run out of def.
Absolutely.
Because then I go into limp mode and I'm stuck at 15 miles an hour or something, right?
Yep.
Okay.
You won't go, and you won't start. It needs.
It just won't start.
It also, since they make that for emissions purposes only, because it burns dirty. Diesel exhaust is really bad for the environment. Yeah. So what that does is separate the components of the diesel exhaust, and you use roughly a gallon of diesel exhaust per 50 gallons of your normal diesel. So I believe it's a 5-gallon tank. Yeah. So that gives you what, 10 times? But I wouldn't test it. You shouldn't need anything else. That's your main cabin air. That's your air filter. That's a standard, like a 1-year service.
This one's screen wash. Okay.
Yep. And that's why I said I'd top that off, because it does look fairly low.
Okay.
Half a gallon. Your other alternator, I like to mention it. It sits down lower than the other one. That's your under the hood generator, so to speak. Okay. It's when you're driving down the road, it'll power your S-bar system 12 volt. Yep. It'll power your fridge compressor 12 volt as well. So you don't have to worry about your stuff in your fridge needing to run your inverter or anything on. You should be good to go. It is I believe, a 1300 watt alternator. So that's plenty. Even if you're running both your fridge and your S-bar system.
Well, the fridge is 12 volt anyway, so it
helps charge your batteries as well. Yep. That's pretty much it over here. You have your step. So if you need to wash the windshield at a gas station, you can't reach it from the side. I've seen people step on the driver's side or passenger tire, but that actually works very well. Yep. It's pretty comfortable to do it like that. I wanted to mention, you do have your main, a couple circuit breakers over here.
So that's the house breakers there.
This is for both house and Mercedes side.
Oh, still Mercedes as well?
And chassis, yep.
Okay.
So you have your battery mode switch, your chassis battery power, your your coach breaker panel. So your actual main breakers. So this is your sub breaker panel.
Yep.
I'll show you where your main is as well.
And then what's that under here?
That's your bottle jack. It's not labeled on there,
Okay.
but that's where your bottle jack sits.
Yep.
Little blue guy. They actually work very well for what they give you.
Yep.
It's very powerful. So the equipment for that bottle jack actually sits up here. Actually sits in here. You'll have to loosen both of those bolts. It sits in a little foam cutout. It's very similar to that. There's just not enough room for the actual press bar for that bottle jack to sit in there, so they put it up there.
Okay.
Up top, you do see your 10-foot awning. I like to mention that last, so I can go ahead and show you how it works. This door is a simple pull as well. It's a pull to open, pull to close. If you pull it again halfway or wherever it's at in its rotation, it'll stop where it's at.
I was going to say, I may be confused with something else, but can you program it to stop halfway?
No.
Okay, that was something else I was looking at then.
It has an automatic shut off. So if you pull that, it stops.
Yeah, because sometimes it might be nice just to only open it that far. And
and it'll stay. There's nothing that's going to limit it out.
Okay.
So if you pull it, it'll stop and stay right there until it's pulled again or any of the other door open.
So if I pull it again, will it continue to close then?
Yeah,
no, it opens.
It'll open it all the way.
Okay.
As well as there's a safety feature. So if there's something in its way, it'll activate and it won't crush anybody.
Yep.
I didn't actually have to put that much force in. I think it's only like 5 pounds. So it's not gonna. You're not gonna stub your toe. It's not gonna squish your. But I do want to show you the awning in and out. When you do run it in and out, and I'm gonna let you do it.
It's just. Yeah.
So that's out, and you'll have to hold it. It's not a. Oh, it is a simple switch. Okay.
Yeah, we came across this because I was trying to hold it before and it wasn't working. I'm like, it's not working. It's not working.
Like I was mentioning on it, I just did a Navion the other day, and you have to hold it down. So what's good about this one on this 2020 is that you press it and then you can watch your surroundings. It's only 10 feet, but still, it'll go out 10 feet. So it's best to watch.
Make sure you don't catch a tree or something.
Or anything. Yep. Because that's not cheap. It is a Colorado company though.
Yeah.
It's Colorado Carefree awning. They're out of Boulder. So if you need parts, they're readily available. If you need a new canvas, very available. They're a very good company.
Right.
Pretty nice that they actually put them on these. If you notice over there in that corner, that black box, it doubles as both a Bluetooth and a wind sensor.
Bluetooth?
So, yes. There's nothing to turn it on. So, but you can activate it from your phone. You look it up. It says Colorado Carefree awning, and you can set it to dim your LEDs. You can actually change your LEDs.
So I could be out here controlling the LEDs through my phone without having to go back into the coach.
Yep. I don't know if this one. I know on the Navion you can run your awning in and out via controlled by that sensor. It just activates the safety switch. I think you can. But one thing I know you can do.
The only thing I do find surprising is that the side light gets covered up by the door here. Like, you could have done with it slightly behind.
Actually,
although you do have these lights.
With both of these,
it
actually provides plenty of adequate light for your area. And that's why they give you that Bluetooth option to dim that. Yeah. Because you're sitting out here and you have somebody facing this direction, and at night, that's pretty blinding.
So
as
just
well
really
as that guy
dim
up there,
it down.
that patio light.
Okay.
So, there's plenty of light out here. It's like a spotlight sitting right here in on this patio area when it's dark out. So shouldn't have any issue. When your awning light is on, this green light illuminates. Yep. Turn it off, it shuts off. This first switch that's right here is not labeled. That is your running board light. That is that lower LED.
That's yep.
It also shuts off the front and rear marker lights, so you're not going to catch it with your shin coming home. It also does the.
Now, why do they have the marker lights? Do these come on with like the normal lights, or?
Yeah, these are courtesy lights.
Okay.
So these are your marker lights that'll tell you where it's at. You're not going to catch it with your shin. Okay. Those are just courtesy lights that tells other vehicles driving down the road, hey, there's something here.
Okay. So that comes on normally. Okay. And then they come on as well with this.
Those courtesy lights do not.
Okay.
Just those markers.
Just the markers. Gotcha.
And then you also have, so you have your courtesy one up there, and then you also have like another small brake light over here. It's not a courtesy light. It's just, it illuminates when your brakes are touched as well. So.
Oh, that comes on and off with brakes?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you have.
So that's. So if somebody's here, then they actually kind of get.
You actually. So Colorado law states you have to have that third one, but you actually have all three of those courtesy ones on that top rail as well. Yeah. That main middle one, these ones, and those ones. So you're pretty illuminated driving down the road. So I do want to mention before I get any further that wind switch. It is, once again, kind of like the door. It is a safety feature. It is not a laziness feature. Right. Don't go to sleep with your awning out. Don't leave with your awning out. If you leave or go to sleep, put your awning away.
Do people drive away with an awning out?
I mean, if you start driving, it's got enough bounce to it that it'll probably pull it in.
Trigger,
I don't want you to test it.
No.
But it's there for ease, just in case, to save your equipment in case it was getting windy. A strong gust will make that bounce and pull it in for you pretty quickly. Okay. So, but once again, and you can test it too. If we had a broom over here, you just give a little nudge and it'll pull it in. But I'd rather not. We do it to make sure that they work, and it's been tested. So I just wanted to let you know. So we'll put that in.
There it goes.
Yep. And it just slides over that top rail. You did see that, I don't know if you saw that white clip that sat on the edge of that front rail. No. That's just to help guide it, because that does squeak, so it's a little nylon clip that helps alleviate that slidage. As we continue, before I get to the water stuff, I just do want to mention this table right here. Slips down with these clips and it drops.
And then we've got the thing here.
Yeah, that sits right there.
Ouch.
The problem,
which I just banged my knuckle on as I took it out.
Are you okay? The problem with these is they have not made them telescope yet.
Oh, this one doesn't telescope?
None of them have. And that's what I don't like about it. The only length you get is like 1/4 of an inch that you can tighten that bolt down. That's it. So one thing I've seen people do is throw a couple pavers in the back.
Yeah, or lots of wood or something.
That just sits.
And apparently this is improved from the previous years.
Yeah, but the problem is there's always a slope to it. And we're sitting on a pretty level surface. So.
And that's probably because they got the beefier tires as well. So it's probably done for the standard.
Uh-oh, that wasn't in place.
That wasn't in place. So, okay. Yeah, you think that bomb bit should be adjustable.
You would think it would telescope, but it doesn't. That same mount, the same T-style mount that's on these bars, is used on the bolts. It's used on the Navions, the Winnebago Vitas, and I believe I don't want to be wrong, but I believe it's the Vita that has the same style legs, but they use it for the dinette table, and those ones telescope. So I know that Winnebago makes ones like this that telescope. Why they don't give it to you on this one is
so if I look through the parts catalog, it's like I could probably find one.
It's them trying to save a buck again and saying, hey, you'll probably want one of these, but we won't give you one.
It's not like this is exactly an inexpensive van either.
Exactly, and that's what I don't like about it. On the 2019, they gave you an accordion style blue spray hose that fit in the rear door for that shower sprayer out there. In the 2020, they stopped giving it to customers. Why? I don't know. They give it to the customers.
So we only have the shower, the white shower one?
You have the shower with the quick disconnect.
So there's no blue?
No, it can be ordered. It's one of those things. You find it in the catalog, but they don't provide it. Down here, we do see your winterization valves. Right now, you're actually set in normal when you're supposed to be set in winterize. So we'll leave it in winterize.
Well, actually, it says
you're de-winterized.
I've been
Excuse me. Yeah, you have been de-winterized. Thank you.
And I don't know if I misunderstood that when it came to how to pick up the van, because it was like, do you want it winterized or do you want it wet? I'm like, well, I want watering it. So
it has water in it.
Yeah. But it has none of that RV antifreeze or anything.
Which means tonight it can freeze.
Right. So I definitely need to plug it in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So right now we're set in normal. If you need to winterize it, that's your first valve.
Okay.
Put it in winterization mode, and all that does is activate the pump. The pump isn't turned on from that switch.
Right.
It's just telling it that, hey, we're going to be pulling from this spot. So when you put the pump on, it's going to tell it to pull water from here. And that's where your siphon hose comes in handy.
When you say pull water, you mean like eject the water coming out?
It'll pull. It's actually a siphon hose.
Right.
So inside your manual, the black bag that's up there, it has a clear like vinyl hose that you'll tighten on there,
Yeah.
and that spins so you can tighten it. And it's just about 12 inches or so. If you're lucky, you get 12 inches. I've seen some
Right.
where they give you maybe 7 inches. And it doesn't reach the end of a 1 gallon bottle of antifreeze.
Okay.
So I haven't looked to see what your length is.
But this is to suck in the
Yep.
antifreeze.
So
Gotcha.
you can set I'd say roughly 3 bottles, 3
Okay.
gallons worth. You may not need all 3. It's good to have a little bit extra
Okay.
in case you need it.
So if I pick this up winterized, would it still have water but with the antifreezing, or is it just
It's
like
just
an
antifreeze.
just
Everything-
antifreeze? Okay.
Every water line is completely blown out.
Okay.
So we use 60 psi air, which is what these things are regulated to.
Yeah.
And we make sure every ounce of air is out of the fittings, out of the freshwater tank, both gray, since there's nothing that runs into your cassette tank, that we don't have to worry about that.
Yep.
And we replace all the water that's in the system with antifreeze. And we do that by running it through this pump system. And that fully pressurizes the system up to 60 psi from pressure from the water pump. So with that system fully pressurized, I don't want to say every ounce or every inch of your water line is completely filled with antifreeze, but it's very, very close.
Yeah.
So with that up to 60 psi, you don't want all of that antifreeze in your water lines.
Okay.
You just want it coated. So you alleviate the pressure on the inside without having your water pump on, and you just let the pressure purge itself out.
Okay.
So there's still antifreeze at your low points. There's still antifreeze sitting in those humps of the fittings in the important spots. But the important thing is that there's no water on board, and the antifreeze that is left in the lines won't freeze. It'll expand a little bit, but that's why you don't want it completely pressurized up to 60 psi.
Okay.
Because RV antifreeze will still expand, but it won't freeze and explode.
Yep.
But it'll still expand enough to break plastic fittings.
Okay.
So never put antifreeze into your freshwater tank, because once again you'll need to sanitize it. And you can drink it. It will make you sick though after a while. It won't kill you, but
Okay, because I'm confused because I thought you said you can put RV antifreeze in with the water.
you can. It runs into your water lines, not your water tank.
That's where I was getting confused.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Because I was like, why? The whole idea of so what other water lines are there then? Because I know it uses glycol or whatever from the Espar heater for heating. So what are the other water lines then?
So there's water lines that run from here to the sink, a hot and a cold. There's water lines that run from the main mixing valve that sits on that rear seat that's in there. Underneath there, there's that main mixing valve. for
But that's
the
all
entire
connected to
coach.
the tank though, isn't it?
No, not necessarily, because you have a tank fill and then you have a city fill.
This is confusing. Okay.
So with your
So-
water pump,
Yeah.
you can run your water pump on only your freshwater tank,
Okay.
or you can have your city fill over there,
Come in.
which you won't need your water pump. There's enough psi on the driver's side that tighten, so you have your tank fill. Don't get tank fill and city fill mixed
Right.
up.
No.
That is
Okay.
just for your tank. That fills up your freshwater tank.
Yeah,
Your
because
city
I'll
fill-
probably be using tank fill. So
your city
usually.
fill
Yeah.
runs everything in your coach. If you have a hose from 10 to 40 psi, it's actually 10 to 60 psi. Most normal hoses don't run up to 60 psi.
Okay.
If you have a hose that has pressure, applicable pressure, you can run your whole coach off of that psi and not need your water pump. The only time you're going to be using your water pump is if you winterize or if you're running off your freshwater tank. So right now, your tank should be full.
Okay.
That since it's de-winterized,
Yep.
you have water on board. That's what that means. We're sending you with a full tank of water for you to
21
use.
gallons.
21
whatever.
gallons, yep. So right here, you have your tank fill with a pressurized line.
Yep.
So that's you
connecting
actually,
up the hose.
Yeah,
and,
you need it
like
to be 10 to 40
something.
pressurized
Yeah.
line. Over here, you have a tank fill, which is a gravity fill.
Yep.
That one you can use a normal hose too. The only difference is this one will overfill. This one will actually stop and you'll start like getting squirts of water out of the hose because it actually has a backflow.
Okay.
You won't be able to fill it anymore when water starts trying to push by that backflow. When you,
I've seen some stuff where the flow rate on this is much slower, or it takes a lot longer to fill. With this one.
That may be because when they're using this, you can have that open, and it provides venting. So that can be a vent for the fill. And so you can fill up to 21 gallons. Usually it takes roughly, what, 10-15 minutes to fill up a bathtub, which is 50 gallons.
Okay.
So I'm saying maybe 5 minutes
Yeah.
to fill it up. So either way, it's pretty quick for a 21 gallon system. And it's roughly 5 good showers if you take care and you soak with the water off.
Yeah.
And if you need to. And over here, so you understand your gravity fill, your tank fill, and your city fill means that you do not need to use your water pump.
Yep.
Okay. Your freshwater drains. Don't get that mixed up with your tank drain. Those are just low points. So when you need to winterize your coach and you want to make sure all of the water is out of your system, you will open those low points.
And this is just like screw?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
It's a quarter turn valve, same thing you find underneath your sink or behind your toilet. Right now they're closed. They look like they're open, but they're actually closed. So horizontal is open. So when you're going to winterize, drain those out and make sure that everything in your lowest point of your water lines is completely free of water.
Okay.
So when you're going to put antifreeze back in, close those up. And then start siphoning antifreeze, and then you'll open up every different fixture until it starts running the color of your antifreeze. It'll burp itself. It'll burp the air out of the lines.
Okay.
Until it starts running, say purple, because most RV antifreeze is purple. Once you start seeing a good pigment of purple coming out, you can shut it off as long as you have antifreeze in your P-traps that are underneath your sink, in your bathroom, drain, you're good. So hot and cold on every fixture, including the rear one. And then come out here and then run it down to your low point, just turn it on, turn it off. And it should be plenty, because that's your lowest point. It should already have antifreeze if you're siphoning through. Your water pump, which sits just underneath, on the back side of the drawer, underneath the sink in here. You don't need to worry about cleaning the screen. It should never get dirty. It may still have antifreeze in it when you go to de-winterize your coach. Just start running fresh water through it when you're de-winterizing it. Like right now, they may or may not have ran that screen that's in there. It's just a debris screen. So it's not a filter, it's just a screen.
Okay.
But it may still have antifreeze in there, so run some water. If it kind of tastes it won't taste weird, but it'll taste slimy. Like the texture of the water will taste a little weird. If it doesn't have any pigment to it, it'll just feel a little slimy. If that's the case, just run your water for a bit.
And when you say screen, what do you mean by screen?
So on right before the water goes into the water pump, right? So say from the tank, it goes through the water pump to provide pressure.
Just a kind of a debris mesh filter.
Yeah. So it's only about 1.25 inches long, and its diameter is maybe 3/4 of an inch. So it runs through that screen and just catches debris, and that's what can hold that antifreeze. Because it's just got water kind of bouncing in, and it kind of hits turbulence as it goes through that screen. So it mixes the fresh water mixes itself with antifreeze, and that's why I say just run it a little longer when you're filling your tank up, and then that water is going to end up in your gray tank. So once again, you can open up your gray tank and let that drain out. So when you're driving or when you're stopping for the night or whatever, your gray tank is going to be empty when you start. So just keep that in mind.
Right.
If you have any of your fixtures going. It's all going to gray tank. The toilet is the only thing
Yep.
that goes to black tank.
Yep.
Okay. Right now you're in normal mode. Leave it in normal mode. Pretty simple. As long as you understand it, I'll move on. I just want to make sure you understand it. And I'll have you step in first, and I'll go through some things over here. We've done most of these switches. The only thing I didn't get to is this lower switch over here,
Yep.
and that acts as a three-way switch to that driver side awning light, or excuse me, driver side patio light that sits up
Okay.
above. The same one that's over here behind this door.
Yep.
This one works as a three-way switch.
Okay.
So if that's on, you can come over here, or you can do that one that's on that rear door.
Yep.
They do the same thing on the other coaches as well. So.
Okay. So that's down there, because if you're outside, you're like, oh, I want the light on. You can just run around and
Yep. Or you can turn
press
it
it.
on and off from there.
Yeah.
If you're driving down the road, you will see that the light is on. It'll blind that mirror.
Okay.
So you can run over here and shut it off, or you can park and shut it off there. But
Yep.
I have had people forget about it, and it's like, okay, so I understand why they give you a three-way switch, so either the passenger can hop out or reach over and turn it off from here, or do it from back there. So
Okay.
your house disconnect.
Yep.
So along with your chassis disconnect, if you're storing your coach, you just want to, with it unplugged and your inverter off, you just want to hit off.
Yep.
But since we're plugged in, it's bypassing it right now anyways, but you can see that the lights dim a little bit.
Yep.
But it's not a whole lot, so it just kind of surges. It's just right now, even if we weren't plugged in, it would say, hey, we need power.
Yeah.
So if I were to unplug right now, it would tell the inverter that we're still trying to use power. We haven't hit the disconnect. So we unplug, that inverter panel up there will stay on.
Yep.
So in case the campground or wherever you have it plugged in at loses power, has a short or anything, you won't lose power completely. It'll take it and
Yep.
it'll transfer it.
Yep.
So as long as this switch isn't completely disconnected, to completely disconnected, to store it, simple switch, pretty
Yep. Okay.
pretty easy. You do have one of your heat exchangers over here.
Yeah.
So yeah, main heat exchanger. Your inverter, I believe your inverter sits right there. That is a simple just a vent for it. Those inverters
Okay.
get awfully hot, so it allows it to breathe. You don't want anything covering that vent.
Okay.
Or that heat exchanger vent, which sits over there.
Yep.
But this one mainly, that is a very expensive inverter. It's an inverter, not a converter. So they just, it's a lot harder to invert than it is to convert. So they're
Yep.
pretty pricey. Just keep that in mind. That main GFCI breaker that I was mentioning earlier does sit right below that seat.
That's this
That
one.
is your main reset in your test. That
Okay.
is the only one in the coach. So if you do lose power on a 110 outlet,
Yep.
you probably flip that breaker and it'll be located there. If it is not,
Okay.
it will be located in your main breaker box. And that sits in there. And
Okay.
those are all labeled, so that's nice to see. You do have your other fuse panel box that sits just to the left of that panel as well, but those kind of require
Like a screw.
nails to get to. But
you don't need to open that.
I do like to open that up and mention that a lot of people like to leave all their bedspread on that bed when they raise it up. So a lot of people nowadays have the Tempur-Pedic pillows or those.
Yep.
Or those.
The foam.
Yeah. If you're raising that up and you're smashing those Tempur-Pedic pillows, that motor is working awfully hard to try to get it in the spot where its limits
Yep.
out. They have been known to blow the 15 amp fuse that's down there. We have been advised from Winnebago to provide a 20 amp fuse if it's a customer complaint. So
Okay.
if you do start to raise that up and it cuts out because of bedspread or any other
Yeah.
reason, that's a Winnebago warranty.
Okay.
They will give you a breaker fuse, which if it reaches over the capacity of 20 amps, it'll just flip a small breaker in
Yeah.
there. You'll need to replace the fuse, but it just helps protect the equipment that bed runs off of,
Yeah.
and the wires and everything. over here we do have this table, and I'm gonna
Yep.
set this back over here real quick. And I don't know if Grant had demonstrated this table or this bed that slides out over here.
We have. I've kind of seen it done, but we didn't do a full.
So that locks in place,
Yep.
right? There's a pull lever over here. This pull is
that one's really stiff.
yes. And then that falls.
Yep. And they come this side. And then we have to remove this.
Yep. So there's a button right there. We'll set that aside for right now. It is kind of just a pain, but these have notches in them
Yep.
that allow you to turn it. So you can turn this and it sits lengthwise. So your goal is to slide that bracket into that middle hole.
Yep.
So before it was sitting in this one.
Yep.
And it is kind of a pain to try to find it. It's because that's in my way. There we go.
Okay.
So that can either be for right there or
Yep.
against the wall. And then the other one has a hard side on it.
Hard
Which,
side.
well, it has like
Okay.
plywood. And it literally just sits just like that. You
Yep.
can have it the other direction too, because it slants a little bit, but it's for ease of access, it's not for comfort. So
Yeah.
but it works pretty well.
It's occasional.
Yes. And then the top portion sits in here. There's a clip back here too, but this one was already undone.
Okay.
That clips in place and that rear one clips back.
Okay.
So not exactly the easiest thing, but they make it,
Yep.
it's pretty neat. So, table locks back in place. There's a simple pull down on this guy.
Yep. To release it.
To release
Okay.
it. That's something that might rattle for you too. So maybe think about some Velcro or,
Yeah.
because that will kind of bounce around.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Another thing, I like to mention this on any of these Winnebagos, they all use this type of drawer.
Yep.
Sometimes these little drawer buttons, they come loose, they can even break off. If they start coming loose, they'll seem really, really loose.
No.
Go ahead and tighten them up. If you tighten them up too much though, the button will be completely depressed on the inside of that, I don't know, circular
Yep.
shroud of the button. And you actually have to open the drawer below it or above it if it was the middle one and forcibly pull it out. So just be careful with them.
Okay.
Yep. But pretty neat little drawers. That water pump does sit back behind here. It is a pain in the butt to get to. The actual water lines that sit for the sink do sit back behind those drawers if you ever need to do anything. I like to mention it because a lot of people are handy and
Right.
like to try to solve their own problems, which is perfectly fine. While we're down here, travel lock.
Yep.
Fridge.
It's just
Simple pull up. Yep. Same thing with this guy. On later models, what I was just looking for is they
Yep.
had one of these on the outside bottom of that. But this is a complete 360 latch.
right.
Excuse me. It also is a hidden door too. But the full, that I was trying to get it completely close so I could demonstrate this.
Okay.
Completely vertical is locked in place.
Okay.
So you pull on that. It may be one of those things that you'll hear driving down the road.
Yeah.
But it's not going to come loose on you. It is a stainless steel
Yeah.
latch. So I like to say vertical to vertical, but this one is actually a little bit off. So pretty much vertical to
Okay.
a little bit not vertical. And accordions. So there's your short cord that I said I didn't want to unravel. Pretty standard 30 amp. But there's that
Okay.
LED that I was saying. If it blinks red, there is a short in the wire, or there's a problem coming from the electrical end, like from your source where you're getting it from, which means a breaker a lot of RV parks, or heck, even a home, will have like the main breaker, and it just needs to be flipped.
Okay. And everybody else's current complaint is that they only give you 2 shelves now, not 3 anymore.
Yeah, I can see that. A lot of people.
No, I won't be using this for storage.
You won't be using
No,
it
this
for
is one of the
storage?
reasons why I was looking at this. I want a toilet and I want a shower.
Yeah.
So I get kind of gross after mountain biking.
Fine.
So.
There's really no good spot for those tables. You can kind of tuck them along behind the toilet if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can just set them aside. They are bamboo. They aren't cheap. So if you aren't ever going to use them, you can sell them if you wish. They are hard to get.
Well, no, two might be okay because I could use them for shelving and still access this if I need to. Just squat down.
Yeah.
And then when I do want to shower, then take it out. Yeah. So.
This is that one shower head that I said that they provide you with. It's that quick detach, so it fits both in the rear.
Yep.
And it's the same style for over here too. It is it's a traditional 1/2-inch shower head. So a lot of people get rid of these.
Yeah.
They're just pretty lame.
Yep.
So since it's the same size, it's a 1/2 inch. It's not a 3/4. It's a 1/2 inch. You can find smaller 1/2 inch, really nice shower heads, and just tighten that back on there, and it just kind of sits there. I don't think this one has a. Does it have a hook for it? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of ones nowadays have their own mount. You can take that off and put your own up there if you want to. But I get a lot of feedback from customers once again that say that rinky-dink thing. You can, if you don't want to replace that end, or you don't want to use the hose, and it comes with its own hose, you can cut that off, take the crimp out, and it's a normal barb fitting. It's a quick release barb fitting.
Right.
You got what I call a fart fan.
Yep. That's kind of in the way.
So just there's a red button.
Push up.
Yep.
Okay.
Push up, pull down.
And also when using shower.
Yep. And it'll actually just provide pretty decent airflow if it's raining, because that's just a simple cylindrical. There's nothing to keep the rain from coming back in.
Yeah.
You can actually pull it down, and it does provide pretty adequate airflow if you're in a really hot shower or anything. So
yeah.
The toilet down at the bottom swivels.
Yep.
Head swivels. You got your main release.
Now, does that have anything in at the moment, chemical or not, or is it?
No, it's clean.
So it's only water filled at the moment.
Yep. And that's one thing we don't rinse out, especially on these Revels, because it's a cassette style.
Yep.
So if we go to flush out the lines that run to the toilet, all it's going to do is fill up your cassette, and then we got to empty the cassette and then redo that. So it's just, there's no sense.
Right.
You're not going to put your hands in that water, so just leave it. There's no other lines connected to it. It's an on-demand water pump.
Yep.
So it's only going to activate the water flow when you need water coming to rinse it out.
Yeah, so there's a button at the back to do the flush, and then...
Yep.
Okay.
Don't forget about your shower drain. When you're winterizing your coach, you're running it through your shower head. Make sure you pour some down into the P-trap for your shower, because that's not the drain for the toilet. Right. The toilet has its own P-trap as well as the shower drain, as well as this guy.
Yeah, so the sink.
This doesn't actually have a P-trap. Since it's too far away from the gray tank, it actually has a macerator system. So what that does is it actually has fins that grind up the debris and everything. It is not a garbage disposal. It is just a macerator system, which is a pump with fins. Okay. So don't think of it as a garbage disposal. Yes, it will do some softer organic things.
That crossed my mind. It was like, well, I'm not going to try to put any waste down, but if something does go down, what does it do? So, is this a stopper? Yeah, that's a stopper.
I wouldn't be trying to put chunks of potatoes or anything quite big down there. Yes, it will grind up like corn,
but a little
rice,
bit of food waste here and there.
Some softer stuff. When your sink will stay full, that is actually your drain. It's a pump. It pumps out of your drain into your gray tank. Okay. So don't leave the water running.
So I don't need this as a stopper.
Technically, no. That's more of a strainer for like debris if you're, say, carving carrots.
Okay.
Over here, you do have probably my favorite faucet in an RV. I like how it's designed. It doesn't leak. That actually was kind of loose, surprisingly. And that may happen over time.
Yeah.
That one shouldn't. That one's on an actual grommet, the one that goes into this housing.
Okay.
But this one may. That one may loosen up over time depending on like calcium buildup or anything.
Okay.
That's up. That's over onto hot. So on is like that. So right now you do have water on board.
Yep.
So the reason why they allow that, so hot, cold, and on is up. So if you're actually leaving it hot, don't think that is off, because if this is stowed and you go to close this lid, it actually turns your sink on and it'll sit there and it'll just drip. So make sure it's in the down position. I actually had people break these by closing it and letting it fall on top of that switch. So
okay,
just keep that in mind. Since I did run a little bit of water through there, that does need to be out. It is vented since it's a pump. So anything else in your goodie bag? You have your shower curtain, that clear white vinyl hose in the front. That one right there, that is, wow, they actually gave you like 2 feet on that one.
That's the winterizer thing?
Yep, that's the winterizer end. So that's the end you screw in.
Yep.
They give you a different end because some bottles actually have a screw on top. You don't necessarily need it.
Okay.
But you siphon out of the smaller end. And then once you're completely pressurized up, you can close it off just so you're not going to get like a siphon back out, because the pressure will dissipate if you leave it open.
Okay.
And once you alleviate your pressure after your water pump is fully pressurized up, your system's pressurized up, you can leave this there and you can tuck it in and just leave it tightened in if you want to.
Okay.
We remove them. Since this hasn't been used, since we use our own,
yep,
you just remove them. You can leave it, you can take it off, it doesn't matter. So you have your sewer hose. It is one-sided. That's another thing that I don't understand why they do that. They do sell these ends at normal RV places, like here, like Camping World.
Right.
It's just a coupler end, but most RV parks will have a normal FIP, so female inside pipe. So it's female threads. So you'll need like a male thread in fitting on the end of that, or a 90 of some kind, or some. There's many different attachments that I've seen.
So, what would I need that for? To connect it to something else?
Gray water. If you really wanted to run gray water down into the sewer. If not, you can run it and let it water the grass.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah. Okay. And this is my reg for the aftermarket.
Yep. So aftermarket. The only other thing I would say, tool that they don't provide you with that you may want for quicker ease of access. Say you wanted to drain your freshwater tank quickly, and it was going to get cold. One thing I didn't mention out there, and I'll show you this. We'll actually step out before we go any further in here. There's this square drive drain right here.
Okay. So these are the water tanks?
Yep.
Okay.
That's a 33 millimeter socket. It's a 12 tooth, like universal style socket. That is where you'll drain your freshwater tank. They do not provide you with a socket to take that drain out.
Okay.
If you want to drain your freshwater tank quickly, you can do that, or you can leave all of your faucets on, your shower on, flush your toilet. That'll do it pretty quickly as well. But that, I would say, would be better, because you can. It's literally right there. If you get a socket, you can loosen it up, drop it, and your whole tank's empty. On your set of keys, the smallest key is for your bed lift.
Yep.
And let's test out what we were going to test out. If you mind, we'll grab those keys real quick and see if we can leave that in the on position.
Oh yeah.
And no, the key locks.
The key has to be in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's why a lot of people leave that in place. So that's actually off. When it's up towards the red, that's on.
All right.
There is a buckle back here.
Yes.
Right now it's off. A lot of people leave it off. It's not smart. It doesn't have a safety locking feature. That's why they provide you with that buckle. So if you hit a big enough bump while driving, your bed will drop.
It will?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's there as a key feature.
Yeah, I actually need about 38 inches, so it's going to be about 10 inches higher than that usually, or a foot higher than that. So I need to get myself a little step, because I'm probably going to be sleeping in it about that height.
Step, and you only have maybe
and
4.5 feet across, so you're going to need something that'll
like
a lot of pillows or bump up.
People have made stuff like that.
Okay.
It's pretty common
to
put mounted bikes.
And you're not going to have any issue. You're not going to blow out the motor, and that's why I say it's like a jumping issue with the bumps and everything. It's just another one of those safety features. I say it loosely.
Okay.
I haven't encountered it. I've driven around with it unbuckled, and it hasn't fallen.
Yeah.
So it's on a pretty tight chain actuated system back here, so it's not going to...
Yeah.
And it does stay... It stays on the wall, but keep that in mind. If you do try to drop your bed when it's buckled, it will try to blow that fuse again. So
yeah, we tried to do that when we were demoing. It's like, oh, we didn't know there was a safety latch
on there. Yeah. While I have it kind of down over here, you do have that AC Dometic unit over there. It is only fan and AC. It does not have a heat pump. So this temperature control that's red and blue over here is only just for how cold you really want it. If you want it hotter, that's the red side. It's not a heat pump. It's just AC.
Right. And that only works when I'm connected to like 30 amp as well.
And that'll only work if you're connected to 30 amp. Your inverter is not connected to your AC unit. You got your smoke detector, your fire, CO. I think that's your smoke. This is your CO2, if I can remember right. You don't have a propane detector. There's no propane on board. We'll pull those out for right now. Your Rixon. This is your actual thermostat. Yep. So it doesn't like dry fingers. It works the same as your phone. It works on like the touch.
I get very dry fingers.
Yeah, and it's a pain in the butt when I try to do this because I got dry hands all the time. But it's pretty much the worst pad that I've come across. Oh, it's because my system's not on.
There we go.
Right now we're going to turn the hot water and the furnace off.
Okay.
And just have the system on. The fan, we'll leave it off right now. So right here, it's just a simple...
Okay, I see. It's rotating through heat off.
Yep, and like I was saying, it doesn't... Oh, it needs to be on. So right now it's going to heat up the glycol is what it's doing. For either furnace or hot water, or both. So right now it's saying that's red even though it's off. It's still the system on. It's not actually going to allow any water through those lines until that's activated. Right. It's saying that there's glycol running through the lines where those lines are, where those water lines are. But it won't actually say, hey, I want hot water until there. That's your instant hot water. So you want instant hot water, flip that switch. But until your glycol's up to temperature, it doesn't matter. If you have the system going for 10 minutes, your glycol is going to be heated up. Oh, excuse me. I completely missed this because that's showing interior temperature. Okay. 73.
The heat's down here.
Up, yeah. And that one's still sensitive, but let's see.
You have to keep it held down, perhaps. Okay. Okay,
it's a really touchy system.
Okay. Oh no, that's working okay for me now.
Yeah, for you.
Okay, there we go.
It never likes it for me, so I was struggling with that. A fan, 2 bars is high, 1 bar is.
Okay, so what's the difference between? Okay, I understand hot water and furnace, and I know there's situations where you have furnace off and fan on. So what does the fan do?
The fan is a recirculation. So if you have your furnace on, it's trying to heat up your glycol. Yeah. If your glycol is, say you've had your system on for roughly 30 minutes, your glycol's already up to heat, right? You can shut your furnace off, but you can turn your fan on low or high, and that's still blowing. Your glycol's still being circulated through your S-bar. Okay. So it's still at temperature. There's nothing that's reheating it. Yeah. So it's just kind of circulating itself. So you have a fan that's blowing through your heat exchangers down here, and your glycol lines run through those. Right?
Now, I had a chart or a sheet, and I haven't got it, I left it at home, but it was different mode operation. So if I'm plugged in at home and I want to keep things warm overnight so nothing freezes, the understanding is like the furnace off but fan on. Is that it? So you don't, because the furnace is for the diesel furnace.
Yes.
And so if we're running the S-bar on electrical, then it's using the electrical heater, and we just have the fan go.
Element. Yep.
And that will keep the lines warm and stop things from freezing.
Yep. So your furnace is your glycol heating up those lines, or your diesel heating up those glycol lines. Yep. Just by itself, yes, it's using an electric element, and it's going to keep it at that same temperature and recirculate. Depending on your fan speed, it's just blowing those lines. Same thing with your water heater. That's your diesel burner for your water heater. That's your electric element for your water heater.
So again, if we're plugged in.
And you can hit that right now.
It's such a big switch compared to this.
And I like customers to feel this because that's off right now. If you press that top button, you feel how it barely depresses.
Yeah, right? It's spongy.
It is the worst button on this planet.
That's terrible.
Worst switch, but that is on.
You would never know that was on.
Every single Revel is like that. So, and it's not even a full depress. It's that. No. It's just that switch.
Okay.
That's it. There's your solar controller.
Yeah.
You won't ever need to do anything with that unless you expand it. Whereas if you do, it's already wired to take that new expansion. Yeah. If you do.
So this is just telling me what it's pulling?
That's telling you what your battery charge is at right now.
Oh, okay.
That's telling you your voltage of your battery. So it's charging right here.
Yep.
You see it slowly charging. That's your charge rate right now. Since we're plugged in, it's actually charging fairly quickly.
Yep.
You won't ever need to mess with it. You won't need to change the settings or anything.
So I'm not fully charged at the moment. When it's fully charged, it'll be on this one.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
And when you're, it's getting dark out too, so it's not doing as much. When you start to drive home with this, and you get the engine turned on, that'll help charge your batteries as well.
Yeah. So this is just telling me we've got power coming in from outside, right? So this is the shore power indicator, charging, and then it's on. So that's battery voltage at 13.1. I know you don't want to run the AGMs like totally dead because you kill them. So what's the min voltage you need to be aware of?
They're all seriesed and parallel together. So if you have one low battery, they're all going to be low. Yeah. And if they've reached below, I'd say like 9 volts, you should probably get it plugged in or sitting outside on a nice
so this would show like at the worst case like 9 volts is like you're in trouble, you need to get
roughly 11.
Oh, 11?
Yeah, roughly 10 and 11. Okay. Unless there's like super bad charging issues or you're using your coach tremendously off grid.
Yeah.
And it's really forested and the solar charger ain't doing jack and you can't run the engine, say you're at a diesel. That's worst case scenario.
Well, one of the things I have to consider is sitting in here all day with my laptop when I actually have to do real work.
You should be fine.
But the laptop will plug into the 12 volt here and run from that, so I'm not running inverter.
Because you're 12 volt, you should be just fine.
Yeah. Okay.
If you do need your inverter, right now it acts as like a transfer switch. Since we're plugged in, it says it's bypassed. So system bypass, that green light, it has a little small indicator over there that says it's bypassed.
I can barely read that, but okay.
Yeah. Bypassed is green.
Okay.
Inverting is yellow. So say we unplugged it, that top status light would turn to yellow and say, hey, we still need power in here. We're going to start inverting, which that changes DC to AC current, all the other mumbo jumbo.
So the fact it's lit up at the moment is because we've got external power.
Yes. Yep.
And when we unplug, that'll go off unless you press this to switch the inverter on, right?
If you actually unplug right now, it'll kick on. It'll say, hey, you need power on. But if you actually turned it off, you would need to press that button and hold it to turn it back on and say, hey, I want my inverter back on. Yeah,
because unless we're using 120, we'll leave it off because this draws power even when you're not using it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It acts as a charger too, though. It's also a trickle charger, so it charges actually better right now than your solar does. So if it's inverting, it's charging. If it's charging, it's inverting because it's allowing power to pass through your AGMs from the shore power.
Okay.
So it's actually helped trickle charging your batteries.
So if I plug into shore power, does this come on automatically?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep,
So I don't have to
what I
come
was
in.
saying. If you unplug from shore power, it will still stay on. It'll say, hey, we still need power.
Okay.
Unless that battery disconnect switch is completely shut off, your inverter can still stay on when that shut off switch is on, because your inverter is connected directly to your batteries.
Yep.
So when you're storing, there's 3 major components: chassis disconnect, house disconnect, make sure your inverter is off.
Right.
Okay. And I do want to specify that because not only are your batteries roughly $1,000, your inverter is probably more than $1,000. Your chassis battery for labor in the battery itself is $1,000, $3,000 right there easily. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. They're AGMs. They like cold a lot better than lithiums. Yeah. They are a Colorado battery. Don't ever think to switch them out for lithium if you're staying in Colorado. The only good place for lithium is in hot climates. Okay.
I've read some discussions about lithium and people doing lithium conversions. Actually, one person managed to get it in under their seat.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, it's quite impressive. He said it was a lot of rewiring work.
Honestly, yeah, because it's a mess under there. It really is.
Okay.
But yeah, your AGM, it's the perfect battery for these, so you won't ever need to change the battery type on your solar charger. Oh. Yeah, you got your light panels over there.
I was looking for this one. Oh, that's not a light. No, that's not a light.
No, that's a RAM mount.
Yeah, the light's there. Okay. It was just this one was shaded, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, and they kind of put that one place panel way off in the dark.
Okay.
I don't know if you knew that these panels are low and high.
Okay. Yeah, because this one's not very bright.
Yeah.
That's more. Okay.
But you do have a low light too. Yep. As well as that's your shower light that's in there, and it's a low and a high too, so you can have like nice calm lighting in there in your shower. Right. You can also turn that toilet to where it sits over there, and you can sit down in your shower, which is pretty nice. I believe middle is off. I just want to verify that I have it off. Okay. Yep. Okay. Last but not least, over here is your one place panel. Yep. It's showing your battery levels as well. Okay. So your chassis battery is at 12.4. It's just because it's halfway doesn't mean anything's wrong with it. It just means that it's been sitting and it hasn't been driven lately. Yep. So once the alternator starts going and you take it home, and the other alternator starts charging those house batteries too, you're going to be full up. So okay. Yeah, this is your other water pump switch. You can have it on since you're full.
So what's the difference between, hang on, you said other water pump switch? Where's the other one?
The other one is back here.
Oh, okay, in the back. Okay.
Yep. And if I'm...
So this is like the main pump typically. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
You can shut it off in the back, and it's a different coach that has it in the bathroom. This one's not technically a full bathroom, so full enough for what it is. Yep. You can leave it on back there too. Yep. You shut it off either place. It runs the same, it's on the same controller. So if I turn that switch on and you came up here, it would tell you that your water pump is on because that switch was activated. Okay. Since you have water on board, your water pump is on. You can have water pressure if you want. Yep. And I don't know if you notice how that is kind of, that's not just the aerator, but even the smell of it. It kind of smells like antifreeze, and it is just a little bit slimy. That's just because there's still probably residual antifreeze in the line. When we fill up the full tank, we don't rinse anything out. Okay. So, but it doesn't smell like anything. Okay. That is a heated glass top. So if you do heat up a pan from over here, you can set it on top of this. It's not going to shatter or anything. It's like Pyrex. Okay. So, I think that's pretty much it over here. I can't remember if there's anything in there. There's not. Storage. You do know how this table works over here? Yes. Okay. And that's either a one-sided table to sit right here. Yeah. Or you can flip that chair around and sit in the nice chair if it's parked and flip that up. Because right now it's not going to stay up. Very strong magnet there. Yeah, those rare earth magnets on there. So it's pretty mean. Your magnetic windows, yep. Bug screens. Just make sure everything works. Absolutely. Yeah. That should be. I'm trying to find your manuals. There's things up here. Is there? Can I see that back? there should be a remote for. Oh, maybe they don't provide you with a remote for that fan anymore. Not on this version.
Don't really need a... Apparently, can't you set these to temperature to work on the temperature?
Yep. Yes, you
can.
can.
I don't know how do you do that? Because it doesn't have a display. So.
Well, it has a hold to set to 78 degrees Fahrenheit, and it'll automatically open to that.
Okay, so it's like preset. It's
yeah,
not...
they do have a Max Air remote, that the one I was looking for, that I don't think they provide you with. You can leave that open driving down the road if you want to.
How we doing over here?
Good. About done.
I think...
got the dash stuff, unless you think you got all that.
Well, I don't know how any of this stuff works.
I'll go over that. Then.
Okay.
How about that? That's pretty much where we're at right now.
I think inside, I'm pretty good. So, what now?
I'll have you sit in the driver's seat, and I'll point out where buttons are and everything. And